All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now it is time to talk about the 2025 New York Football Giants. Life is simple. Yes, it is. Look, this is a Giants team. We're focused on the future here. All right, this is the 2025 season. I don't know what the hell that was.
Whoa, popping off
They're
over there, getting a little
excited too.
excited. Hey,
But
don't get too excited. You just had
I know
mouth
I'm
surgery a few days ago.
loads over here. So 2025 season for the Giants. We're looking
You're
forward.
taking your shirt way too seriously, dude.
Enough of this looking in the back view mirror. We are looking forward to the 2025 season. We've got a fresh new quarterback room. We've got the quarterback of the future. We've got our bridge quarterback. We got a dynamic duo in the running back room, and we got the best wide receiver in the football, and probably the best defensive line.
Did you
in the
just say
National
you have a bridge quarterback? You have like 6 bridge quarterbacks.
All right, relax. Okay, here we go. New York Giants. Let's get into it. As we do with every team, we're going to start with the losses and additions, which I can tell you right now, the losses don't mean shit because they're a bunch of losers. But we're going into the additions. Now, I'll break down their free agency. Derek's going to give a way less biased opinion on what this team's going to look like 2025. We're going to talk injuries. We are going to talk fantasy, and we are going to, of course, going to give you our best bets for this New York Football Giants team. So, let's get to these losses. Quarterback Drew Lock, thank you for letting us not have the number 1 pick overall and beating the Indianapolis Colts on that day. You are back in Seattle. Darren Waller, the rapper / tight end who I talked myself into 2 years ago. Now Miami Dolphins fans are going to talk themselves into after not playing a football for a year. Good luck down there in South Beach. Azeez Ojulari and Adoree Jackson, they follow Benedict Barkley and become absolute traitors and never were Giants as they head on over to Philadelphia. Hopefully they can stay healthy because they haven't done it their entire year. Isaiah Simmons goes to Green Bay, and then Jason Pinnock, a pretty good player there, goes to the 49ers. Now we're talking about who are the new kids on the block. Quarterback carousel has changed. No more Daniel Pennies Jones. We now have Danger Russ as the QB1. You got Jameis Winston being the quarterback whisperer and, the vibes locker room guy, QB3. And then QB2 is the rookie, the future, Jackson Dart, coming out of Ole Miss University there. You brought in James Hudson over from the Browns, Chauncey Golston from the Cowboys, Roy Robertson Harris. Big free agency moves here. Paulson Adebo coming to be our cornerback number 1 from New Orleans. Javon Holland, a really good safety from Miami. And then, of course, the draft. You talk about Abdul Carter, arguably the best player overall in the draft at defensive end. Darius Alexander from Toledo. And then Cam Skattebo coming in from Arizona State. A lot of changes, a lot of reasons why I'm hopeful. But let's hear it, Derek. What do you think, losses, additions? Hopefully you're going to tell me they got better because it's hard to get worse from where we were at last time.
Yeah, I think they did get better. So there you go. I still definitely have some questions about the Giants, but I think they got major or have major improvements on the defensive side of things. They finally got a number 1 corner in Paulson Adebo.
Right.
Obviously, they bring in another stud up front in Abdul Carter. I'm not quite sure if he was the top guy in this draft. I think Travis would be there for me. But quarterback-wise, you got a room. I don't know if you have a quarterback that is going to lead your team to a great season by any means. But you got Russ, you got Jameis, you got Jackson Dart. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be the starter throughout the year. My guess is we might see all 3 of those guys from time to time. But I do think they got better. You still got Malik Nabers and some hopefully progression in his abilities there in New York. Outside of that, defensively, again, I still have some questions at the linebacker position, secondary, but up front, their defensive line is pretty damn stout with Dexter Lawrence and Carter and Brian Burns and all of those guys. So I think they got better. Am I expecting them to win the division? No.
That's okay. We can temper expectations for now. It's early in the off season. But yeah, no, look, I'm gonna say this. Yes, obviously a little bit biased, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But the defense is gonna be good next year. I mean, it better fuck because it greatly improved the secondary. We have a cornerback one. We brought in a stud safety, and this defensive line. Like when the Giants were good, when we won in '07 and 11, it was through the defensive line and the offensive line. And they're finally investing and bringing back in the defensive line. You got Dexter Lawrence, you've got Abdul Carter, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, and you got Brian Burns. That is a nasty pass rush situation. That's like, and now you got a better secondary. I can almost guarantee the defense is going to be better. The offense, we'll see.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about the offensive line, because last year they were looking a lot better until Andrew Thomas went down.
Yeah, and that's what the
all
entire
hell broke loose.
offense is. He's the linchpin, and he's coming off a list rank injury. October 13th, he injured himself. Finished the game, but yeah, he injured himself against the Bengals, where Joe Burrow ran for that 50-yard touchdown. We should have beat the game. That was a crazy game. I still think about that. But 11. Look, this is about a 9 to 10 month, typically a recovery timeline. He's at 11 months. Now, of course, he did say, he's up and moving around, all that stuff. He didn't commit to a timeline when he's coming back, which you never want to hear a player not do that. But per expected recovery timelines and everything, we'll see in training camp. But he should be good to go for week 1, at least not week 1, then early on in the season.
Yep.
So what do you say? A Liz Frank injury, not exactly what you want,
no.
but
I think it'll be good to go. And for your sake, I hope so. But yeah, I think Andrew Thomas will be good to go. He will shore up their offensive line yet again.
Yeah, I mean, because he's such a big. I mean, I will tell you, he is the catalyst.
He is the unit.
Right, so because we're gonna keep a close eye on this and see how he's progressing.
Yeah.
We'll see, but he should be with 11 months of recovery timeline. He should be good to go.
Yeah.
Malik Nabers dealing with a turf toe injury. Kind of had it for the past couple years, going back to college. He missed some OTAs. Big deal in my mind. He's expected to be back from training camp. If he starts missing in training camp, this is a different situation. But I mean, the guy's dealt with this in the past, and he's still done what he's done. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really concerned. What say you?
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where in the middle of the season, this is a bitch. Yeah. But he's had plenty of time in the offseason to get this right. Hopefully he's taking his rehab and kind of ran with that and put that as the priority. But he should be good to go. Like you said, if he starts missing some time and sitting out in training camp, this might be another story, but he's good.
Yeah. And then Paulson Adebo, the big free agent addition coming over from New Orleans. Last time we saw him on the field, he was getting carted off with a air cast. He had a femur fracture, pretty nasty looking injury. However, typically these fractures only take about 4 to 6 months to heal. He's got 11 months of recovery time just around there. We've seen videos of him moving around very well. As interesting as it is, as long as it's not like a very complicated a la Alex Smith type fracture.
Yep.
I would much rather my guy have a fracture than any type of ligament or kind of muscle.
Oh, no doubt.
Coming in from
any soft tissue stuff. Yeah.
Although this, looks worse, it's actually kind of a better outlook for Paulson Adebo this season. Any concerns on your end?
Nope, not at all.
Perfect. All right, let's move on over to the fantasy space here. Got a couple guys I just want to hit on. Malik Nabers. I think what makes him so intriguing is the fact that when you look around, it's Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, whatever. But how do you not get this guy well over, 100,
10, 12 targets a game?
Yeah. I just think the target share has to be there, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially with quarterbacks as Russ and Jameis and maybe Jackson Dart. I guess we haven't seen him in the NFL, but they're going to feed their number one target, and that's by far going to be Malik Nabers.
Yeah. Now let's talk about something with a little bit more of question mark, and that's that running back room. You got Tyrone Tracy, you got Devin Singletary, and you add Cam Skattebo to the mix. I am a Tyrone Tracy believer. This is a guy who was a converted wide receiver from Purdue. He's only been playing the position for 2 years. I think he looked great last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he really came on strong once we realized that Devin Singletary kind of sucks. he had 839 yards with less than 200 carries, averaging 4.5 yards. He needs to clean up the fumbles a little bit, but
Yep.
I do believe going into the year, he's going to be the RB1. Look,
Agreed.
Cam Skattebo is an awesome player. I loved watching him at Arizona State. I love that he's on our team. I think he can absolutely take away from some of the red zone touchdowns that Tyrone Tracy has. But I think Tyrone Tracy is the RB1. And now, where we're talking about him getting drafted, I've seen many drafts where Cam Skattebo is getting drafted before Tyrone Tracy. Where are you at in this situation?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Tyrone Tracy almost has to be your RB1. Cam Skattebo, great story, great player, but he's a college running back, it seems like to me. He's a guy that dudes in college bounced off of. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case in the NFL.
Right.
Skattebo reminds me of a Toby Gerhart or even like a Tim Tebow kind of a thing, where college, you're bigger and badder than everybody. In the NFL,
Right.
that's not the case anymore.
Right.
So Tyrone Tracy is definitely more of an explosive running back. Like you mentioned, he's still pretty green when it comes to the position, but he can definitely be that guy that still holds the majority of the carries.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy, I think, is going to be one of my guys in fantasy this year. I just think his value and where he's being drafted just does not match at all. And then last guy I talk about, Darius Slayton. So Mr. Danger Russ, as you are familiar with, coming over from Pittsburgh now.
Yeah.
Does one thing pretty damn well, and that is his very vintage classic moon ball that he throws over the top. Now, I would love to sit here and tell you that Jalen Hyatt, this matches very well with what he did at Tennessee, but I can't trust that guy more than you can throw him. But Darius Slayton has been our most consistent wide receiver since he's came in the league, and he has been a deep threat target. Yeah. I think that this is going to be an interesting situation for Darius Slayton to have a bit of a year, maybe flirt with that 1,000-yard season because of those moon balls. Am I being a crazy optimistic fan, or can you see a path of, Russ and these moon balls benefiting Darius Slayton?
I could see it. I don't think it's gonna happen necessarily, especially when you have a guy in Malik Nabers,
Right.
who's gonna be getting the majority of the targets. I think it's one of those things where he's a boomer bust for me. Could he go, absolutely bonkers and have 130 yards and a touchdown one week, and then the next week have 2 catches for 15 yards? 100%.
Right. Definitely more of a best ball player, right?
Yes.
Someone like that. But last round, you can get him for pretty damn cheap. Someone I'm keeping my eye on at least. All right, let's get into it. 3-14. Not fun last season for these New York Giants, but greener pastures, as I say. Win total over at 5.5. Juice to the under a little bit. Futures. Let's just talk through them just for my amusement here. Make playoffs, anywhere from 650 to 8-1 over on ESPN Bet. Miss the playoffs, this is incredible. Minus 1,600 or minus 1,100. Win the NFC East, their own division. 25 and 30-1 to win the conference, 110 to 80-1, and to win the Super Bowl, 230 and 200-1.
Yikes.
Sounds like I'm going to be a rich man this season. No, that's embarrassing that these futures are so high, but hey, I have to talk about them. So, are you playing any of these futures or a win total?
I am.
Okay.
And this isn't because sometimes I like you.
Oh.
But I will be taking the over 5.5 wins.
Smart man.
125. And part of this is due to Brian Daboll's, he's coaching for his job at this point. But you got a much more, what should I call it? Veteran quarterback room that I think the floor is around 5 wins, to be honest with you. I think Russ gives you enough to I think he brings a quality floor. And from an offensive line standpoint, if Andrew Thomas stays healthy, defensively they should be a hell of a lot better. I think over 5.5 is a lock for your New York Football Giants.
I love it because I'm also on the over 5.5 plus 125 over at DraftKings. Defense keeps you in games. Defense keeps you competent, and lets you be competitive. I think this is the best defense in the division. We will see. But to me, on paper, I have questions about Dallas and their injury situation. I have questions about the Eagles and all that they've lost in their changeover. I have questions about the Washington Commanders and if they can get their hips in place and do what they can over at the retirement home. So I think you have a good defense. Yes, you have some good offenses in the NFC East, but I think a good defense will keep that competitive. And then the other sides of the ball, I just talked about it. The offense is the question for us, but the defense is the question mark for the rest of the division. So I think they're going to be able to take some games in the division. Also, they're playing a fourth place schedule, so that gives you some more favorable matchups there against some of these teams. It is still a tough schedule. Again, I talked about it. They draw the AFC West and they draw the NFC North, two of the better divisions in football, but they only got to get to 6 wins. And I think they can grab, 2 or 3 in the division. And I think between playing teams like New Orleans, playing teams like New England, Minnesota, the Raiders, I think there is wins out there. So give me the over 5.5 for the New York Giants. I'm not going to give out officially any of the other crazy futures play. Will I have some in my personal portfolio? Probably. But as in good conscience, I cannot give those out on this show. All right. Any player prop stuff that you have?
Yeah, give me Nabers over 1,150 yards. He did this last year with who at quarterback?
Yeah. Let's not talk about it.
Exactly. So we got Russ coming in, we got Jameis coming in. Both of those guys like throwing the deep ball, and Nabers is another guy that can make some of those contested catches, and he's going to get the majority of the targets. There's no doubt about it. So give me Nabers over 1,150.5 yards at -110.
Love it. Yeah, love it. I mean, he had 170 targets in 15 games last year. There's no way he doesn't get there, barring anything catastrophic. So I've got a couple player props. I've got 3. I'm going to go through them kind of fast because I've kind of hit on most of these guys. We'll start with the 2 offenses, and I'm going to finish off with a defensive play here. Darius Slayton, I just talked about him. He is the long shot guy. He only had 2 touchdowns last year, but I'm expecting him to be on the back end of those moon balls more. Give me 5+ touchdowns at plus 225 over on DraftKings. I would love to play an over on his receiving prop. They just didn't really have one out there. But he had, his rookie year had 8 touchdowns. He had 4, not last year, but in 2023. He's got more competent quarterback play, and he's the deep threat. So I do like him there. I also like Tyrone Tracy, 1,000+ rush yards at plus 225 over on DraftKings. We talked about it. I think he's going to be the RB1. I think this offensive line has actually grown to a level of competence, especially with Andrew Thomas there and the work they've done in the interior offensive line. So I think that he's going to be at 1,000 yards there. And then the other one that I want to spend some time on, Dexter Lawrence.
Sexy Dexy.
Sexy Dexy, baby. The best defensive line. Well, let's talk defensive tackle in the game of football. Since Aaron Donald has retired, it's Sexy Dexy. The dude had 9 sacks in 9 games last season before going down with a bit of an injury there. Led the team in sacks last year. So you can get him at 7+ sacks at -105. You can get him for 10+ sacks. So just one more, even though he only played 12 games last year, at 5-1. And you know what? I'm swinging big. Give me Dexter Lawrence to have the most sacks in the NFL at 150-1. Obviously,
I don't know about that one, but I like your 7 and 10. I think Abdul Carter and Thibodeau or whatever his name is.
Yeah, well, here's what's going to happen. I'll tell you right now. We're going to bring out the NASCAR package. You're going to have Abdul Carter on one end. Actually, no. It'll be Thibodeau and Burns on the edge. You'll have Carter bouncing around in the middle. They're going to force the pocket. They're going to step up. And who are they going to step up into? Big old Sexy Dexy. He's going to benefit from that defensive line. So I will be playing also. I couldn't find the number in any of the books, but team with to have the most sacks to be the New York Football Giants. That will be absolutely on my card. So just throwing that out there. Don't have a number there. But yeah, that is where we're at. Obviously, these New York Football Giants. Hey, we are both one biased and one unbiased host on the over 5.5 for these New York Football Giants. Big Nabers fans. We also believe in Tyrone Tracy as the RB1. Darius Slayton can benefit from some moon balls, and Dexter Lawrence and the defensive line is going to be having multiple sack parties this year. That is how we see this 2025 New York Football Giants season playing out.
That's right.
All right, my friend. It was a long one, but we've done it. 90 minutes of the best division in all of football, according to me at least, and the Super Bowl trophies that we talk about here. I know I'm mostly all talked out. Do you have anything for the good people before we get on out of here?
Shoo! I think this is finally the last NFC.
We are done.
We're done with the NFC. We're moving on to the AFC next.
Yep.
So be ready for the AFC division previews. We'll be throwing out some team previews after all of the divisions have been completed. But after that, if you guys have any ideas as far as what you want to see on the bet side of things, fantasy side of things, we're open for ideas. Any feedback is definitely welcome, especially when it's positive feedback. One of us is much better looking, one of us looks like a chipmunk, so we'll see.
All right, let's calm down here. Let's get him off the soapbox, folks. But like you said, this is the last of the NFC. We've done the NFC North, South, East, and West. We are now moving on to the AFC. The goal is to get all these division previews knocked out before the Hall of Fame game there, before the end of July, and then we'll start releasing team previews and such. So, like Derek said, leave us a comment. Let us know, especially if you're an NFC East or East fan. Let us know what you think it's going to be like. And if you're from any of these other little divisions, sure, you can give your opinions as well. But look, folks, we appreciate any love as a newer channel, especially if you're riding with us at an hour and 34 minutes in. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what's up. We are stoked for the season. We are getting these bets out to you early as we can because we know these numbers are going to change. So we advise you, if you like one of the bets we're giving out, take it now so you get the benefit of a good number. All right, folks. From the DJ Doc and Professor Locks here at IDP Plus Bets, we are out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.